Welcome to another.
Were you going to sneeze? I couldn't.
It was. Yeah, maybe might have. Anyway, hey, my name is Rod McCall, and this is another episode of Home Sweet Home.
Did you forget about me? Because usually you say, "Hey, it's Rod McCall," and I say, because I know who I am, I'm Bryce Runge. And then you say, welcome to another episode. No? Are we doing things different now? You didn't communicate with me?
Gosh, I'm sorry.
When there's a lack of communication in our relationship, it starts to take a spiral downward.
Can we hit the reset button?
Absolutely. I forgive you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Rod McCall.
Welcome back to it. And I'm Bryce Runge.
And this is another episode of Home Sweet Home.
Yes. I love to laugh.
Smart Alec.
Oh, Lord.
So what's going on with you?
Oh, my gosh. Just working.
Working?
Plugging along, working, creating some events through work.
Okay.
Hanging out with the kiddos.
Okay.
Suzanne and I just celebrated yesterday our anniversary. A whopping 5 years, and it feels like, yeah, I swear we did. We made it. No, we kind of joked yesterday. I'm like, congratulations. We're so blessed, and we're like, doesn't it seem like it's been like a lot longer than 5 years? I'm like, everything that we've encountered has made it feel like it's been so much longer.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel that way because there has been a lot. And it's just, that when you find the right person, like it feels like we've been together forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great feeling. It's a great place to be. But it was our anniversary yesterday. We went and got massages, and
really,
that was pretty much it. Picked up Chipotle, and
nice.
We're actually going to go out next Friday. Mm. We got a babysitter for the girls. Her brother and sister-in-law are going to keep the girls overnight. So,
okay. Wow.
Yeah, look at us.
All right. So
we're planning a little trip.
Outstanding. Good for you. A little R&R.
Yep.
Is a great way to reset the batteries.
There you go.
So,
anyways, yeah.
Well,
that's what I've been doing.
Good for you.
What about you?
Oh, plugging away. Same thing. School year's just moving forward one step at a time. Working on my course load through the university to finish up my master's. I've got finishing up this class, and so that leaves me 4 more classroom classes I got to take before I do my 3 classes of what it might be considered like student teaching.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm done. And I can start charging people. So
nice. What's your target finish date?
August of next year, I will be able to start charging people. So
not August. Not
this year. Next summer.
So a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It seems like you've been doing your program.
Well, when I take one class at a time, it takes a while.
Oh, well, take more.
Well, I could, but that requires financial aid, and I'm a cheapskate. I don't want student loans.
How long are the?
And one class at a time doesn't really interfere with my life.
Oh, that's good.
So
yeah, you don't want that to interfere. You're a husband, you're a teacher, you've got some other things, so you don't want it to impact those other things. I get it. I get it.
But I can pay cash and still do, go on vacation and,
whatever.
Like our trip to Alaska and, just.
Nice. Are you rubbing this in again? Because last week we talked about the trip, like traveling, and you threw out all the places that you've gone. And I'm like, I went to Oklahoma. No offense to Oklahoma. I'm just saying. I liked it there. We went to the Tulsa Aquarium. It was cool for those that got to stay and not the dad who took the little kid who lost her marbles. Anyways.
Gotcha.
So.
Hey, well, hey, Sylvester Stallone likes it. That's why he's called the Tulsa King.
Is he?
You haven't seen the TV show?
No.
Yeah, there's a TV show all about Tulsa.
Like,
with Sylvester Stallone as the main character.
Is it like still like airing? Is it out?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. Check it out. Maybe we'll get an endorsement from him.
If you're listening from Tulsa, yeah. Anyways, what are we talking about today, Rod?
All right, so, one of the things that makes life more enjoyable is relationships. Would you agree or disagree?
Who you get to go on vacation with?
Yes, or get a massage with.
I would agree that relationships make life. Healthy relationships make life so much better. And I don't think we were designed to do life alone. I think that we're supposed to be in relation with others.
Okay.
And for you and I, we get to be married to these beautiful women. So that's how I believe it was meant to be. I think we're supposed to be in relation with other. Obviously, healthy relationship. But that's not always the case. We run into bumps along along the way. But
and it doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship.
No, not at all.
I mean, just
that's what I mean. Relations.
With your friends, with neighbors, with coworkers. And I mean, I love my job because I work with some fantastic people.
Right.
But what's going to be happening here this year is a number of folks are leaving.
Yeah.
And I'm really disappointed because we're going to lose through just attrition and, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I know of several who, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, upwards of 6 people that I work with on a regular basis and have worked for a number of years are not going to be on campus next year. And I'm worried about what that's going to be like.
Right.
But, people come into our life. People go from our life.
Absolutely.
And some for the better and some for the worse. Mm-hmm. But you ever had a relationship with somebody that you're kind of sad it ended?
Yeah. I mean, I could say I've had a handful of those. Yes, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and so I ran across this particular article. This individual, they wrote this story, and it feels like their name is a nom de guerre, or a pseudonym.
Oh,
because their name is. Sorry, I didn't mean to use a big word for you.
I was like, what did he just say? My eyes crossed. Huh?
Anyway, their name is Reed O'Day.
I didn't take math, okay?
Okay. Well, it's not a math question, but anyway.
Exactly.
They came up, this person, their name is Reed O'Day. And they wrote this article titled, Reasons Why Relationships Fail.
Okay.
And I thought, and as I read through them, I go, well, I can kind of relate to a lot of these. And because I look back through my life and I'm thinking, okay, what, there were some people that I really, I regret that, I didn't push forward enough.
Right. And
I think to myself, well, what would have happened, had this relationship gone farther? Now, some of them, I get it. I mean, they were absolutely my mistake. Anyway, so as I'm reading through, and so I thought maybe we could take a few minutes and explore, some of the items that were listed here as to some potential reasons why relationships fail.
Right. What?
I just didn't know if you were okay with that.
Oh, you were staring at me because I put my glasses on, and so.
Oh, well,
I can't see you, but I could see like really good right in front of me. I'm totally okay with this because it's very applicable yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And every day that ends in Y because, I think there's a lot of relationships that are in that place headed towards failure that are salvageable, that could be reconciled. If you start to address those issues, mm-hmm. right, and you become intentional about it. Mm-hmm. Now there are some relationships, and again, not talking intimate relationships. Well, yes, there are intimate relationships that are on the verge of breaking or failing that can be redeemed, but there are also relationships that, friendships or whatever that probably in your life for a season and for a reason.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Sure. Because maybe okay. Maybe you move, maybe they move, sure. Maybe your work friends. And you're right. Some relationships just aren't meant to last.
Right.
But sometimes these relationships end because of things that we either do or don't do.
Right.
And you're going to be shocked by the very first on this list.
I could take a wild guess.
Okay, what is it?
Communication.
Spot on.
Really?
I guess you weren't so surprised.
I'm good. I am that good.
Anyway, that is, and we
talk about that so much.
We do.
Although I would say I have kind of sucked in that area recently, but it's okay.
Well, and that's the thing is talk to that person, talk to that friend, about what you're feeling. Talk about what you want, what you need from that relationship, mm-hmm. and your feelings. Because if you don't, then nothing can change.
Right.
And all you're going to generate is more frustration and bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was interesting because you're right. You and I have talked on multiple occasions about the role that communication has.
Right.
As far as, any kind of positive relationship. Mm-hmm. And so, again, a lack of communication
right.
can play a huge role in why a relationship just kind of, it wilts on the
right
on the vine and it dies.
Yeah.
And so, again,
absolutely.
Whatever the problem is, whatever the issue is, talk about it and get it out in the open.
Right. And I think if you're a man listening, and there are some women like this, but men are more apt to pushing it down, packing it in, and not having a communication because they felt like, it's not the right time. And maybe it isn't the right time, but you have to certainly make time to have that conversation with whomever you wanted to have it with, because you're like drinking the poison. Mm-hmm. When you when you experience that breakdown in communication and you're unwilling to set the pride aside and say, these are the things that are bothering me. These are some issues that I'd like to get on the table, and I'd like to have a respectful conversation about it. Because if it's never addressed and it's like keep packing it down or keep brushing it under the rug, well, you and I both know that the situation gets tremendously worse.
And that actually, you're totally correct. And that ties right into the very next issue, and that comes to trust. You have to have a level of trust with that person, with that friend,
right?
That you can express yourself. You're taking a little bit of risk by putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. But in the process of putting yourself out there, you're also saying, I trust you and I trust our friendship, our relationship enough that I feel confident that we can talk about it.
Sure.
So if you don't have trust, then that makes that communication even harder.
Right. Yeah, that's a very difficult situation to be in if you don't have that level of trust. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that absolutely, I would agree to that.
So again, the third thing, the third issue, and this one here, when I read through it, it took me a little bit by surprise because I read through it, but as I thought about it, I processed it a little. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, okay, well, it means more than just what it says, but it says a lack of intimacy.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm talking about Sherry, okay, I get that. That's intimate.
Sure.
But then I start thinking, well, how about the non-romantic
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, what does intimacy in a non-romantic friendship or relationship looks like? And I think it's like, like you and I, we will talk off air about, some deep personal issues.
Right.
Well, again, part of that communication, part of that trust is being able to open up and say, I've got a problem.
Right.
I don't know how to address this.
Yeah.
But talking, having that close friendship, that close relationship, and opening up yourself about what you're feeling, something that you're experiencing that is causing you maybe a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety.
Right.
Well, you're opening it up and having, again, intimacy doesn't have to mean romantic intimacy. Yeah. And so when I started looking at it from that point, I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like you said, you and I have had conversations where they're deeper down to the core conversations that are, you could label intimate. I heard this a long time ago, intimacy. Kind of like take a deeper look into me. And then you can see.
Like a window.
Yes. And then you get to see what's going on. Like we get to the root of some of these things that both of us experience. And that's a deep, intimate conversation. And so I think when you said, like a lot of people, no, I don't have an intimate relationship with my guy friend. Right. But you have those deep conversations that build more trust, and you build on the communication, and then obviously, yes, romantically, obviously, where that is and where that goes. If you don't have that, and you don't communicate about it, then you're headed down. And again, it's that's one of those things that.
Well, and I like the way you said that.
Sorry,
into me see. I'm probably going to borrow that.
You can. I'll charge you.
Okay.
And anyone who wants to borrow it, you can. But Rod, he for free. But Rod, he always gets charged. He charges me every time I call him. So.
You haven't paid any of them, but. All right, so maybe that's part of the problem is I have unrealistic expectations, because that's actually number 4. I expect you to pay that bill.
Right? Yes, that's a very unrealistic expectation.
All right,
this is a big one. I with your number 4 here, the expectations. Go on.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say, I think when people a romantic or unromantic relationship, just a relation, put all these expectations in a box and they drop it on their partner's lap. And they say, fulfill these expectations. And that's so unfair, because that person can't fulfill those expectations for you. That's not how it's supposed to roll. That's not how it goes. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And I mean, if you think about it, okay, and I have done this myself, where I'm going to expect you, and not just you, but the other person, I'm going to expect them to have the same level of everything that I do. I'm going to, I want you to have the same level of integrity. I want you to have the same priority list that I do, and put more priority towards this, but not so much towards something else. I want you to be like me, to think like me, to act like me. And when you don't, now I'm going to get upset.
Right.
Well, if you're right. If you have those unexpected, unrealistic expectations, the reason why you're friends is because maybe they aren't entirely like you.
Right.
And so
when you place those expectations on others, just like you said, because I'm not like you, you're not like me. I operate at a different level. You operate at a different level. Our spouses operate, and our kids operate at a different level. And we sometimes place those expectations on it. Then who turns around and gets bitter when it's not met? We do. So what does that turn into? Turns into lack of intimacy. Turns into lack of trust. Turns into a lack of communication, because we're bitter and we're resentful on the fact that you didn't meet up to my expectations. And what the problem is that you didn't look in the mirror and say, "There's the problem."
Yes. And
stop placing expectations that are unrealistic on others.
And once that begins to happen, now you begin to move away from that friendship, move away from that relationship, which they call infidelity.
Got it.
All right. Now, I'm not going to cheat on you, but
you better not.
Well, okay. But you start creating a separation. You begin.
There's no other podcaster better than me. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm sorry. I totally cut you off.
God, man. My expectation is you're going to let me finish, dang it. Jeez, how unrealistic was that of me?
I took an energy pill earlier. I'm all fired up right now.
Oh, is that what we call them? I thought they were ED pills, but anyway.
She'll like it too. No, really, that's what it is. I'm not going to say the name of it because they're not our sponsor yet, but if you know the commercial and she'll like it too, you know what I'm talking about. You can pick us up and we'll I'm sorry. Go on. What the heck?
Yeah, you took that infidelity in the wrong direction. But again, when you start feeling that disappointment that person is letting you down, well, now you start to, you pick up at somebody else to be, that best friend, that person to spend more time with, and you distance yourself.
Right.
And you begin that replacement process. Mm-hmm. So again, infidelity, isn't just cheating on that romantic partner, but also in, beginning to replace that best friend. Because again, you're right. You put an unrealistic expectation. They didn't live up to what you expected them to be, even though you never told them that you need to be this.
Right. All goes back to what? Number one, communication?
Yes.
You and I see this in school all the time. I saw it a lot in middle school. Friendships breaking out. I'm not my best friend anymore. I'm hanging out with so-and-so now, or I'm starting to hang out. It's I don't know.
I see it in high school too.
Yeah, and it continues to travel with those people because they never were educated on that. So hopefully through this,
if they listen,
we're dropping some education here. But I would agree with that.
So that then leads to a lack of commitment. And I sometimes, when I was reading through this, how much of this lack of commitment that you have is tied back to some of these other things. When you're not talking to each other, when you are not trusting them, when, again, your expectations, well, maybe part of that is because your commitment to that person really wasn't as strong as you thought. You're calling them your best friend, but I don't know, were they ever really there?
Right.
Did you, I don't know, you're good pals, but the more you get to know them, maybe they weren't that person you thought they were. Maybe you weren't committed, like you thought you were.
Right.
So, and then that brings us to something else, and that is personality clashing. And, I mean, I've met people, and I thought, oh, they're pretty nice. And then the more I got to know them, the more I realized we look at the world in two totally different ways. And it is hard to tell that person, look, hey, we can be friends, but we don't need to be best pals. Because I'm not sure we can be best pals. But you got to kind of communicate, say, look, if you want to continue to be best pals, we can. But your personality and my personality, share maybe those expectations, communicate those expectations, open up a little bit, show them yourself, and maybe now you can. But if you don't do those kinds of things, then when those personality clashes begin to occur, and maybe that person, the person that you were friends with, well, maybe they develop a different friendship with someone else and they begin to change. Maybe they get involved in drugs or alcohol. Maybe they become addicted to work. Who knows what their personality change might be? Who knows what your personality change might be? Maybe you've changed.
Right.
Maybe you've experienced a little something in life that caused you to change. Or maybe you yourself are self-medicating your problems with drugs or alcohol.
Right.
And so now it's your personality that has changed. And so now you've got that clash.
Right.
So,
wow, that's big right there. Yeah.
All right. Now, here's the other problem that you and I have. You don't give me money.
I got 99 problems. I don't see. Well, hey, you know, I've said this before. I've made this very comment. Maybe you need to change it. That's the funny thing about expectations people place on others.
No, I say that tongue in cheek, but one of the things that can happen is money problems.
Yeah.
And I mean, and again, I saw this happen in my relationship with Eric's mother. We had money problems because she would spend it, and then we didn't have the money to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. But so in a romantic relationship, that's, you know, again, that's pretty understandable.
Right.
Where, you
finance is one of those main causes of divorce, right?
Sure. But that also can work in friendships where one person, you know, can you spot me $5? Hey, do you mind? Can you, you know, we're going out to lunch and, you know, I kind of forget my wallet every time we go, which.
Yeah, seriously. Can you stop?
Okay. Maybe that wasn't the right example to use. But you know what I'm saying? Well,
yeah,
you know,
100%.
You bring that person along and you become best friends because you're milking them.
Yeah.
Or they're milking you. Mm-hmm. And you're always paying for them. Okay. Well, again, that can create a conflict.
Yeah.
Because again, when you're friends, well, you're friends because you want to be their friend. You're not taking advantage of them. And sometimes money can show an ugly side to an individual.
Right. As it does, right? And as it has for many people.
Uh-huh. So number 9, and I'm sorry, this list is kind of lengthy, but number 9 was a change in lifestyles, goals, and interests.
Okay.
And I think as people, again, experience life, as they go through life, get a little older, maybe your goals and your priorities and your interests and your lifestyles stay similar, but maybe they begin to differ.
Right.
I mean, because how you are when you are in high school differs than when you are out of high school. And the further away you move from, I mean, okay, I think to my closest friends growing up, I mean, we were great pals and great friends. I mean, we were inseparable. And we have maintained this friendship. I mean, crying out loud, we're all in our 50s.
Right.
And we still hang out and talk to each other, text each other. And I mean, we've even done family vacations together.
Yeah.
And that's really great. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been to a high school reunion because a lot of the people that I knew in high school, I'm a way different person.
Right.
And so a lot of those friendships began to change as I changed. My priorities, my goals, my lifestyle changed differently to theirs. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes that just naturally happens.
Right.
I mean, especially if you have like that best friend you have at work. Mm-hmm. All right. When you're working together side by side, day after day, well, then you have a lot in common.
Right.
But like when I moved from Pennsylvania to Texas, I don't talk to any of those people I used to work with.
Oh, okay.
Because again, everything changed.
Right.
And so
what do you say though to the married relation, the husband wife, whatever, right?
I think that is
because people go through as a married, like Suzanne and I have been through some, let's call it traumatic stuff, and you know how trauma has an effect on a person, right? So people may develop new goals or new hobbies. Like I have a new hobby.
Oh yeah, your
the
baseball
cards, right? The football and all that, right? And that's something with Braddock's. What people cast new visions for certain things. Like how do you address that if one person isn't, the husband or the wife isn't sold on that?
Well, I think it comes back to trust, communication, and financial. Mm-hmm. All right, does your hobby of your collection of sports memorabilia, baseball cards, football cards, that kind of stuff, is that causing a serious financial burden on the family? Because if it is, then maybe it's a little more of a problem.
Right.
But if the answer is, well, no, it's not that big a deal. No, it's not having an impact because some of this is birthday money, or birthday presents or Christmas presents or something like that. I mean, I play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I don't buy a lot of cards. I don't spend, hundreds of dollars every paycheck buying Magic cards.
Right.
If I did, that might be a problem.
Might be a problem.
Because it's not a problem, even though Sherry and I she has absolutely no interest in playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, or my Magic the Gathering games. That's fine.
Right.
But it isn't a financial issue. It's not I'm not spending all of my time. If you're not spending all of your time doing that, and if you're doing it because you and Braddock's have used that as a connection to build that relationship as he moves from little boy to grown man,
right?
Well, now you're strengthening that relationship tie.
Sure.
And so I think when there's a few it depends.
Right. I think I know where you're going, and it all comes back down to the first
communication. Talk about
the second one. Have a conversation. Consistently communicate about that, and you build that trust. For me, it's a balancing act.
Sure.
And how do I make sure that everyone is loved the way that they need to be loved? How does everyone have the quality time that they need from me? In the house, and that's I've gotten better about that, but I think my answer to that would be it's okay to develop new hobbies and do certain things. If you do it with your spouse, that's a bonus, right?
Sure.
Suzanne's not going to come up here and open up rip packs of football cards with me. I maybe one day she would for chips and pickles, but she'd probably walk out and say, that's kind of lame, but have fun, guys.
Yeah.
But if you find something, then awesome. But my thing is, it's okay to have different goals and do certain things, and I think that's healthy for a relationship. I think at the end of the day, if you have a healthy relationship, you're communicating, you're building trust, and you're doing those things, then you have a spouse, because this is more on the relational side or the intimate side, is you have now a stronger support.
Sure.
You have a supporting cast because you've communicated, you have that trust, and if you're consistent and you haven't, and anyways, I could keep going on. Anyways, I wanted to address that because, someone's going through that right now.
Sure.
I don't know who, but I'm just saying.
No, and you're spot on. And that's where, in the divorce group that I was part of for a long time, that was one of the biggest things that created some issues. And so as they began to, again, as lifestyles changed, as, we had a couple of folks that they were going through a divorce because, well, their partner became, their lifestyle changed.
Right.
And they went from heterosexual to homosexual. Okay. Or maybe they were always homosexual, but they didn't admit it to themselves.
Right.
And so, okay, there's not much you can do when faced with a situation like that.
Yeah.
But again, we had others where the spouse went through a midlife crisis and their idea of marriage changed.
Right.
But there are times where some things just happen to you and you're kind of going, oh crap.
Right.
But again, when you have these different changes, depending on what they are, if you have a strong enough relationship in these other categories, you can potentially work through them.
Right.
And find a way to address them.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are some of the issues that can cause a relationship to fail.
Those are powerful. Before we got on, and it hit me again right now. I think that, this is such a powerful example. I think relationships fail because people score the touchdown when they shouldn't. They should slide and come up short and sacrifice for the team. They should make it about we, not me.
Oh, like the Chiefs player did on the Super Bowl.
Like
right there at the end of the game.
McKinnon.
Yeah.
And that just popped in my head. I know we had a conversation, we talked about that and the things that could have happened or whatever. And I said he made that about that was a we and not me thing. Mm-hmm. He could have scored a touchdown.
In the Super Bowl.
The
go-ahead touchdown.
But his relationship with his was more important. So he sacrificed and he gave up a wide open shot to walk in and score on the biggest stage of his career. Mm-hmm. And he chose to come up short and slide down and sacrifice for the greater good of the team. That was a we thing, not a me thing. And I think relationships fail because so many people look in the mirror and say, it's all about me. But it's not.
No, that's valid.
I think in any relationship, in life in general, it's about others. We're supposed to do life with people, and we're supposed to make, obviously we make time for ourselves and we need to take care of our own health. But, specifically like in my marriage with Suzanne, it's about sacrifice. It's about serving. Mm-hmm. It's about coming up short instead of scoring that winning touchdown and making it all about me.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. No, in fact, I tell you what do you say we put a pin in this and I take you out for a drink?
Me. I don't have to pay?
No, you don't have to pay.
No expectations for me to pay?
No expectations. Okay. No.
That sounds good to me. I'm shutting this down. Let's go.
All right. Well, then, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Bryce, going to get a drink on Rod.
See ya.
Bye.